Hello, faithful listeners. Once again, this is the Going Commando with the 80s Kids podcast. I am Carthy. Always by my side is Mr. Ben Davis.
Hello.
They call me Mr. Davis. And we are going to do a hot take.
Hot take.
That's right. We can't just do a hot take. We got to do a hot take.
Hot cakes. Hot take.
Yeah. So, first and foremost, we want to thank everybody for listening and or viewing. So, for every one of you out in Radio Land, you might as well take a hot take and have us on your show. We work for peanuts.
And TikTok land, too.
I want to put that out there for you. Because, yeah, we listen. We love you. Have us on the show. Anywho, today's topic, the Avengers of the 80s. So we're going to take we're going to see your 2000s Avengers with 23 movies, and we're going to do it with some 80s actors. What do you think about that, Ben?
80s flair.
Little 80s flair.
You've seen the 90s recast.
Yeah, everybody. I think a lot of people
you've seen that meme or whatever you call it, but we're doing our own.
We're going to do our own because we're going to go back another decade.
There are no visuals.
There are no visuals. One day, when we get paid to do this versus us just having an excuse to hang out, have a beer, and talk, we will have visuals.
Yes.
That I can promise you.
I have a TV already to put here. I just don't have any.
We're going to have monitors and
hit it.
We'll actually have headphones on so we can hear what we sound like and everything.
Who do you think should be Tony Stark /
okay.
the Iron Man?
All right, so I'm going to be honest, I'm stealing this one from the 90s post because after I saw Tom Cruise in the iron suit and with the Tony cut, I'm like, wow. That I can't talk about how he's going to act because Robert Downey is very ad-lib, off the cuff, quick speaking, quick thinking. I don't know how Tom would pull that off, but I do believe he would have been a decent Iron Man, right?
I agree. I think he would have been. I was hoping he was going to be in the Doctor Strange, like kind of everybody said he was going to be.
Perfect segue, my man, because they had him in the Ultimate Iron, the liquid metal iron with the headband, and that little, whoever did that fan art was just unbelievable because it looked great on him. And I'm not going to lie, I was kind of like, oh, that would be a cool little thing to have him come in. Yeah. Just because, he wouldn't have got killed by Wanda.
They sold me. I was like, I knew he was going to be in it. I just knew it.
That would just be, we got a bunch of them that they did say, but So, all right. So now here's one that I, when we were talking about it, like, all right. So you came up with this one. I thought it was brilliant. Who's going to be Banner?
Who's going to be Banner? It's going to be Mel Gibson.
All right. So, I was thinking Dustin Hoffman. Just for the nerdiness, but I think Mel Gibson would have fit in with the crew better. Does that make sense? He would have fit in with everybody else.
Yeah, because I just can't see someone like that in an Avengers film ever.
Well, they also didn't see, what's his name, as Obi-Wan. He did it, and he's beloved by all. So, just throwing it out there, man.
Ewan McGregor?
No, the original Obi-Wan.
Oh,
he talked about how
the knight.
Yes, he talked about it. I don't think you would have said, ooh, Chris Lee's an actor, Shakespearean trained, former Secret Service of the Queen. He's going to be Dooku one day. Maybe not, you know what I'm saying? But some of the greats say, you know what the heck? I'm going to just be in a movie for the fun of it.
That's true.
I mean, if you would have told me that Natalie Portman would have been in 2 of the top grossing films of all time because they were nerdy, I would have laughed my ass off. I mean, she's a great actress. She tends to do more serious subjects.
Yeah.
But recently she had that one kind of like sci-fi horror movie. That was so much better than anyone expected. And then, I mean, she's Jane in the Avengers. Mm-hmm. And she's Padme in Star Wars.
That's true.
So I would not have called that. So sometimes people surprise you, and I think the Mel Gibson one is a nice surprise, personally. Yeah. So, what about Captain America? I think I'm going to go with Kurt Russell. I think given Big Trouble Little China and some of the other action movies he was in, he typically did have that flowy hair.
He did really have that hair. He had the hair.
But I think you could have cut him down and made him short-haired, and I think he would have done a great role, like Spike, from Escape from New York. He had the action chops.
He had that that neat up top hair,
like almost like a Farrah Fawcett
in like
coif.
1992.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
since our film takes place in 1989,
Agreed.
which is what we've set, by the way.
Yeah, I was just going to say anybody who was available by '89.
Yeah. So I believe he pulls it off.
I think I like it.
2 thumbs up.
So we went back and forth on Thor. My original one was not old enough to play Thor, but I went with the 90s again. I thought, man, Brad Pitt would look pretty fitting, the good-looking blonde guy.
Yeah.
But I kind of like where your head was at. Brad Pitt is more of a tone, muscular fit. Definitely not more of the Chris Helmsworth like big fit.
Yes.
And Chris actually has an accent that most Americans can't pick up on. So then I thought your idea was genius, Mr. Dolph Lundgren.
You know, something else just occurred to me. Brad, you said he wasn't old enough, but he was still playing like high school movie roles.
Right, he was.
Yeah,
You're 100%
yeah,
right.
he would. I don't think he would have been ready for an Avengers film until the mid to late 90s.
The one that I mentioned, Thelma and Louise. Look how young he looked in that. Didn't you say it was a 91 or something?
1991.
So no, he was a baby face then. He was still a baby face when he did Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, he did Fight Club. He started to get a little bit of age,
a little bit more
not much.
chiseled. And I mean, honestly, yeah, if you know, an average dude, like I would, it's impossible, let's say for me, without a ton of work, to look like Chris Helmsworth. Because you got to not just cut down, but you have to build up as well.
Most of these people don't even try anymore because Thor's so huge.
Yes, and so I love Dolph Lundgren because he was also He-Man.
He was a big guy. Yeah, he was He-Man.
And really, off the top of my head, do you remember who the Lady Love was in He-Man?
She-Ra?
No, the love interest in He-Man. Do you remember the actress?
Oh, Courtney Cox.
Well done, my friend. Well done, my friend. One of her earlier films.
Yes.
So next, we're going to go to Natasha. And now we had both had ideas, but I loved mine just because of the attitude. And honestly, I mean, if I'm being honest, back in the 80s, black spandex, tight-fitting clothes with an attitude, I'm going with Madonna.
I said Cher, but then you came in with Madonna, and I decided that's a much better one.
I just think she would definitely pull off the snark.
Yeah, it's great. That'd be great. It's a great one. It's a great choice.
Again, not to be sexist or whatever piggish, but she had the body, and she definitely liked flaunting it.
She's going to fill out the suit.
She's going to fill out the suit nicely.
No,
and
there's going to be no padding.
Well, with
no
her
padded muscles.
I mean, with her, you know, she was known for being athletic. You know, she's dancing all the time. I think she could have done well with the fight scenes. So that's where I'm going to go. I thought you absolutely knocked it out of the park with Mr. Burton and Harrison Ford.
Well, that was you, man, because initially I said Mark Hamill for Banner, and then you said, wait, what about
another Star Wars alone?
And then you came up with this one.
Harrison's a little bit taller.
Group effort.
Group effort. That's right. Everything at the 80s kids is a group effort. So go Commando. But yeah, Harrison Ford would have been perfect. Coming off all that Star Wars success. It's not like he's not used to filming action films. He's had Indiana Jones. He's a heartthrob. So, I mean, I know Burton wasn't necessarily the heartthrob person, but they could have worked it differently back then, especially since they didn't have the CGI and things.
Well, I think by the time he gets his own show, he kind of is a heartthrob because he's like the loving dad, and then he's like this uncle to what's her name.
Remember, he followed Damon in the Bourne series.
Yeah,
and then he also was in or I'm not sure if he still is, but he was in Mission Impossible.
Yes, he was.
So
I loved him in that.
Yeah,
movie.
I mean,
great.
Yeah, so he already had a extensive action movie history at this point.
So yeah, their careers kind of resemble.
Yeah, I mean, they're going in the same direction.
Yeah, see, Harrison does planes. This guy does snow
removers
or something.
I don't know.
They both sound pretty dangerous.
And then, of course, and I cackled when Ben told me this one. Who's going to play Nick Fury?
Well, it's going to be Samuel L. Jackson,
because he was still making movies back then, and he still fits the bill. So we're going to go with Sam Jackson.
It's always going to be Sam Jackson.
So anyway, this was a hot take. Once again, this is the Going Commando with the 80s Kids podcast. I am Carthy. This is Ben Davis. And as always, thank you for tuning in. And hit us up. Drop us a line. We're really easy to find online. We can do a segment for you guys.
Yeah.
So that is an inside joke. We apologize to all the faithful listeners, but Yeah. So anyway, as always, thank you for listening.